Luke, can you give us a synopsis of where we'd got to and the conclusions that we'd made? From Monday, yes.
We're looking at the ravenous bird and comparing that. We're looking through what that means, and we came to the conclusion that the ravenous bird is a man, that he's been called to execute counsel. The east is the same as a far country. I think it's verse 11 of chapter 46. And I think we're likening that man to Cyrus. Is where we got to.
Are you done? Brother Larry. Can you give us a synopsis of what we looked at last time?
Well, the first few verses was talking about Babylon and their gods and serving them, and then the remaining verses was talking about the true God, and then it led into, remembering the former things of old, showing us the end from the beginning, and then it ties in with Luke's thing of Cyrus and the bird and the man.
You added verse.
What I added.
You added verse 10. You didn't talk about verse 10.
Yeah, I found a quote. Oh yeah, we didn't talk about 10. Yeah. Oh, and then I found a quote about the very last verse where it says, "I bring near my righteousness; it shall not be far off, and my salvation shall not tarry." And the verse that I found in the Spirit of Prophecy was likening that unto Christ coming to His people, bringing salvation to His people.
Sister Antonisha?
Okay, Isaiah 46 we place in the period of darkness because in its historical setting, Cyrus came in 538 BC, which is the time of the end of the 70-year probationary time, for lack of a better expression, given to the Babylonians. We used verse 11 of the chapter to determine where it is placed on the line. We saw that the verse was predictive, and on that premise we put it prior to the time of the end, where the fulfillment is made.
Last bit, sorry.
Where the fulfillment is made.
Anyone else? Anyone want to fill in some gaps or express it in their own way? So, what we want to do a couple of things from Isaiah 46, but one of the things I wanted to do was to see how we approach a story and begin to bring it on a line. And hopefully, when we were doing that, you could see the logic that people were doing. We were picking up execution and trouble. We'd seen many things here that were all sort of seeming to point to 9/11. Someone had seen some prediction about what was going to happen, or they thought it might be a prediction here about this history. But if you let the original history, the literal story, guide and direct you, you can at least make a primary application. I'm not saying there may be a place, or there may not be a place for making a secondary application. I wasn't even looking at that. But primarily, we have to be here. Can we all see why? In the darkness. Do we all understand why that has to be? Were you here? You wasn't here, and Sister Olivine wasn't here. Okay. You weren't here when we did it on Monday, were you? No. Yeah.
Which verse are you applying to darkness? To
Let me ask you a question. Do you see that we'd be in this darkness? Or do you see we'd be somewhere else in this chapter?
I don't think I understand you.
You asked me,
Yeah.
what
Wait,
verse are we here in the darkness?
Yes.
So I'm asking you, you tell me a verse where you might be somewhere else. You've got 13 verses. Are any of those verses going to put you somewhere else?
Yes.
So tell me the verse.
There's. Do you want me to start from verse 1?
So just tell me, is verse 1 not going to be here?
I'm not seeing anything in verse 1.
Okay, so I'm asking you for a verse. I didn't want you to go to any particular verse. If you wanted to go to verse 1,
I asked if I should start from verse 1, but.
well, it wouldn't, no, because you've already answered that it's not going to help you.
Okay.
Tell me, pick a verse where you think it's not in darkness.
That's not in darkness.
Like you've jumped, however many years that is.
I would go for verse 9.
So you're in verse 9. Remember the former things of old, for I am God, and there is none else. I am God, and there is none like me. Tell me where you're going to place that, if not here in darkness. Where are you going to place that? Then you explain why.
The words former things of old, that brings to mind the old paths, and I would put that at 9/11. It could possibly be before, sometime before 9/11.
Here somewhere.
Yes. Yeah.
So when that passage is being spoken,
Yeah.
Cyrus has already destroyed Babylon.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? The foundation have already been laid. That's what you're saying. And you're approaching the reign of Darius. Is that what you're saying? So you're either at Cambyses or false Modus is reigning when verse 9.
I don't know the full history.
But if verse 9 is approaching 9/11, you're past Cyrus.
Yes.
So tell me how you...
So if that's the case, then yes.
So chapter 47 verse 1, where are you there? The downfall of Babylon.
That must be 9/11.
Babylon falls at 9/11.
I'm just thinking of the second angel's message.
Yeah, but Babylon doesn't fall in the reign of Darius.
Okay, yeah, I don't know exactly, but I'm
What is
thinking
it you
of
don't
the
know?
fall of Babylon.
What is it that you don't know? You say you don't know exactly. You don't know that Babylon doesn't fall at the reign of Darius. You know that.
Yeah, but I'm thinking of the second angel's messages, the fall of Babylon.
Yeah, but you've got to place things correctly on the line, and 9/11 is Darius. And Babylon
Okay,
didn't fall in
yes.
Darius. Babylon
Yeah.
fell back here.
Okay.
So in chapter 45, Cyrus hasn't come yet. You agree with that? It's 45
Chapter
verse-
what?
Sorry?
Which chapter?
45 verse 1. If you went through the chapter
45 or 46.
45,
Yeah,
so the chapter before Cyrus hasn't come,
yeah,
and the chapter afterwards it's pre 9/11.
yes.
So you're saying that you're going to pull up a random verse in 46 and place it near the reign of Darius or false Modus. Can you see that's what you're doing?
Okay.
You can see you're doing that.
I mean, I don't think I'm kind of, I don't think it's causing any injury.
Tell me where you put chapter 45 here,
Yes.
verse 46:9 here,
Yeah.
and then 47, chapter 47 back again.
No, I didn't say that.
You just did.
I was saying that,
Where's chapter
I thought we
47?
were looking at 46.
Yeah, we are looking at
Okay.
46, but you have to put place 46 in its right place. Do you agree chapter 47 is the time of the end?
Yes.
So you agree chapter 45 is before the time of the end.
It would probably have to be, yeah.
Okay, so that's why I just said you've got 45,
Yes.
chapter 45,
Okay.
then you've got verse 9,
Yes.
and then you've got chapter 47. You're jumping back and forth.
Yeah, so that is that wouldn't be correct then. So I wasn't because when you look at the book of Daniel, not all the chapters are in systematical order. So I didn't apply it in a systematical fashion with Isaiah.
Hence my question, do you think it's legitimate in this context to jump back and forth?
No.
Okay, so you have
I didn't
to
realise I was doing that. So
Okay.
if I'm doing that, then
Can you see
that's
that you're
not
doing
correct.
it? So you're going
Yeah.
chapter 45, 46, 45.
yeah, I acknowledge that.
47. Okay.
Yeah.
Brother Jonathan.
I have a question. Last class we went through what is on the board, and we came to the conclusion that it should be before the time of the end. But if we see all the symbols like you wrote down, most of them pointed us to 9/11, or at least in my
That's
understanding.
what I was thinking.
How
yeah.
do I know now what is the primary application? Because you said
Hmm.
15 minutes ago or 10 minutes ago, in a foundational or primary application, it should be before time of the end.
Also, yeah.
You understand my point?
Sorry. I'm looking at yesterday, I think it was yesterday's
It's
notes.
strengthening the case.
No, that's a question I have.
The
I
notes from
already had.
yesterday.
Tell me which one you want to pick up. I understand your question. Tell me which one of these you want to pick up.
The one which is most obvious for me would be in fact verse 9, because it says remember the former things of old, because
Verse 9
that's
It doesn't say
just-
anything. It just says remember stuff.
okay. Yeah, that's okay. But if we I immediately made a connection to Jeremiah 6:16.
Yeah.
And
so
I'm just wondering, okay, I agree that it makes sense before
Where are you placing Jeremiah 6:16?
9/11.
What does Jeremiah 6:16 say?
We shall
Asking
shall
the
return
old
to the old
path.
path.
Sorry?
That we shall return to the old path.
If you're okay with the paraphrase or do you want to read it, I don't mind.
Can you read it? Thus saith the Lord, stand ye in the ways, and see and ask for the old path, where is the good way, and walk therein, and ye shall find rest for your souls. But they said, we will not walk therein.
So you tell me what that verse means. How you're understanding that verse.
That we as Adventists have to return to the old path, which are our charts.
So we need to
Other
return back to the
charts.
charts. That's
Yeah.
the old path you're saying.
Yeah. And the people say we don't want to walk in those paths, but if we would, or if they would receive rest.
So why is that 9/11?
Because of the rest. It's refreshing.
Well, it's a conditional clause. It says if you did this, you'll get this.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So why does that place it at 9/11? I agree that you can develop a logic to say it can't be after 9/11, Because if you put the rest here, because if you're going to comply with 6:16 here, it's a bit late. But what it could be any time before that, couldn't it?
That's correct. That's correct, yeah. So why do we mark it, why do we normally mark it at 9/11?
So I'm asking you why. Unless you're going to say because everyone else does, which is probably unfair upon you if I say. Let me ask you this question. So it says, standing in the way. Did it say that, something like that? Yeah.
Standing in the way.
Okay. So what is a way? A path. So what does that mean to you? A path.
We have to stand in the correct path.
So what is that path? Because that's not a path, is it?
Okay, it's doctrine.
Okay, what doctrine do you have to stand in? So you're saying a path equals a doctrine.
Isn't this connected with Isaiah 20?
Let Jonathan do it, please. What doctrine is this?
The old doctrine. The old path is the old doctrine.
What, like, let's keep Sabbath? Which doctrine?
The charts. Everything which is on the chart is the old path.
So you name a doctrine.
2520.
So we need to go to 2520. What else?
The daily. Islam.
And how are you going to get to all of those? What's the methodology you're going to go to go down that route?
It says we have to return. This means... No, it doesn't say that. Sorry, what was your question?
What's the methodology that you're going to do to return? I think, is it return? You said return? What's
No,
the
it doesn't
methodology?
say return, but yeah, Miller's rules.
You can use Miller's rules. And what's Miller's rules?
The foundations.
No, they're the foundations.
Okay, it's a methodology.
No, I asked you what the methodology is. You said the methodology is the rules.
Yeah.
So you can't say rules is methodology. I want the specific methodology. You said the specific methodology is the rules. So I'm saying, how do these rules do that?
Is that line upon line? No, it isn't.
Why is it line upon line?
Because my understanding is Jeremiah 6:16 and Isaiah 28.
We'll just go with 6:16 because we're in there.
Okay. I'm not in there. So
proof
let's go
texting.
in there.
Sorry?
Proof texting.
Proof texting. So you're saying you're going to do it through proof texting. So what is proof texting?
Compare scripture with scripture.
What, just like one word in the scripture with one word in the scripture, or the whole verse with the verse, or a whole chapter with the chapter?
Symbols. Could be just one word, could be a phrase.
So it could be word to word, phrase to phrase, verse to verse, chapter to chapter.
Yeah.
So if you start doing chapter to chapter, that's story to story.
Okay, then it would be line upon line.
Okay, so you're going to say the methodology that you're going to use is line upon line.
In that sense, yes.
Okay, so this path is line upon line, you're going to say, or the methodology to do it, and they're the doctrines that you need to go back to. You need to go back to these and you use line upon line methodology to do that. So 6:16, read it again.
Thus saith the Lord, stand ye in the ways and see and ask for the old path.
Okay, have you got to the old path yet? Or is he saying, wherever you are, you need to go to the old path because you're not on there yet? Are you on the path?
No, it doesn't say that.
Okay,
At
so
least I
so
understand it.
the implication is you're not on the path, you need to get onto the path.
Yeah, because I have to ask and see.
Okay, so you're not on the path. It says get on the path, and when you get on the path, what's going to happen?
Where's the good way and walk therein, and ye shall find rest for your souls. But
Okay,
they
so-
said okay.
So you're not on the path, you're going to get on the path, and when you get on the path, what will you find?
Rest.
And what is the rest? You're going to go the rest of the refresh in Isaiah 28, which he wants to take us. Yeah? So are you going to make, where are you going to place the rest in the refreshing? You're going to place that at 9:11.
When I'm standing on the path.
No, it didn't say that. It says, read the back end again, it says you will find.
You shall find rest for your souls.
So when you get on the path, you haven't got rest or refreshing. It says when you're on the path, then you will find it.
Okay.
Because the path is a journey.
Okay.
You agree with that?
Okay.
So there's a sequence. You've got A, B, and C. What's A?
Find the path.
Okay, so you need to find what is B,
Be on the path.
B on, and C.
Find the rest.
So I'll just put rest.
Yeah.
Get to. So Isaiah 6:16, Jeremiah 16, you're here. You're not even on the path yet.
Mm-hmm.
Agree with that? And we've just said all of this path stuff is all line upon line.
Okay.
I've managed sort of to push you in that direction. So, Sister Shamila, you tell me, where is line upon line methodology introduced into the reform line?
Okay.
Which way, Mark, do you do that?
It'll probably be.
Not probably. It's tell me what it
Okay.
is.
I'm gonna say 9/11.
So before
But
let me
it
stop
may
you
be
then.
before-
Before 9/11,
Mhm.
this movement doesn't understand line upon line. That's what you do.
Okay, time of the end.
At the time of the end.
Yes.
So back here.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll say increase of knowledge. The increase of
Yeah.
knowledge. Because the increase of knowledge, you go back into our literal history, 91, 92, you'll see that just soon after that there was a document that was put out, which is line upon line methodology, which predates Daniel 11 verse 40 to 45. So where are you going to place Jeremiah 6:16 now? Because you're not even on the path yet. You're not even here at the increase of knowledge.
So you have to, okay. You have to apply it actually earlier.
Because he's telling you back here, why don't you do something? And I'll take that lot here. He's telling you to do what? To get onto the path. And if you get on the path and you walk, here you'll get to some rest. Because you'll have what does rest actually mean? Like, take a break. You've actually arrived at your journey's end here. Not here. Yeah. You're resting here. You've arrived. This is the arrival point, not back here. But regardless of that, 6:16 is back in this history, not at 9/11, because line upon line methodology was developed at the increase of knowledge.
Okay, but that wasn't my original question.
But you brought us to 6:16 to prove that it would be
Yeah,
here.
okay.
So I've just said the proof that you used to be here actually brings you back to the same point here.
Okay, so whatever the list you have written down there is actually not at 9/11.
Some of it may be predictive of what you could achieve, but we're not here in in any of these verses in chapter 46. Why did you take us to Jeremiah 6:16?
Because just how Isaiah 46 is worded.
No, but you brought it
familiar.
from something in this chapter.
Verse 9.
You brought it from verse 9.
Yeah.
So what was it in verse 9?
Remember.
It says, remember the former things. Remember the old paths. That's how you did it. Yeah?
Yeah.
So I'm saying God is here in the period of darkness. He says, remember the former things. If you're going to use Jeremiah 6:16, Jeremiah 6:16 has to be here. It couldn't have been 9/11. What are you supposed to be walking on? A path. What does a path even look like? It's two parallel lines, isn't it? By definition, it's line upon line. The fact that that's the symbology of the path. If you zoom out, what does a path look like? Just looks like a singular line. And when does the line begin? The time of the end. Jeremiah 6:16, he says, get onto the line. By 9/11, the line's already sorted out. All the work's been done. You've arrived at your journey's end. Your original question, why do we put it here? I don't know why people put it there.
Because the words of refreshing and rest. Everybody always point to 9/11 as the refreshing and rest.
And I'm doing the same. I agree with that.
No, but I'm
Yes,
telling
yes,
you
I
the
know.
argument.
I know it was a rhetorical
No,
question. so.
My original question was, how do I find a primary application? Because
I'm not even saying there's a secondary one. I'm saying if there was, because I haven't thought about whether there's a secondary. I'm not even suggesting there is. I'm saying you just read the chapter, and it has to be in this period here.
okay, I read the chapter. Maybe obviously I was
Not
wrong.
just you. The whole class did.
Okay, but we all put it at 9/11.
Yeah.
So what do we do that we don't do the mistake with another chapter as well?
It's practice. It's just.
What?
If we practice it often enough, then we begin to do, I don't know what the science is. I give some guidelines. One of the guidelines is you go and check what story you're reading, and then you see what was happening in that literal story. So that's one thing. The second thing you do is you go into the spirit of prophecy, and if it's, say, Isaiah, you find out where Isaiah was ministering, what was going on. You have to get all the historical context, then you place it in a certain history. And now we've got enough information using what methodology? Or what? Yeah, I think it's methodology. It's up here. What do we use over and over again to cross-reference histories properly? Is this relevant?
Isaiah 46:1.
Not that. I'm asking a different question.
Oh, sorry.
How do you go about cross-referencing histories accurately now? It's up here.
Like what you're doing there.
Yeah, but I'm looking
You're
for.
using
Sorry?
Chiasm?
No.
No.
Declaring the end from the
Sorry?
beginning. Declaring the end from the beginning.
That does
No.
accurately.
The seven thunders.
Seven thunders. It's the seven thunders
Yeah.
that now opens up and gives us the ability to go, I'll say any history, but it's not literally any history, to go into the histories, and then you can place things because it's a delineation of events in a specific history. So once you can do that, you can go into the reigns of the Persian kings, and the Persian kings are going to tie you back to this history, jumping into our history, and now you can know time of the end is Cyrus. So you go into a story and you see it's Cambyses or Darius. It now gives you the ability to lock a chapter or a story into a place in the reform line. So first you see what's going on generally, then you see when the prophet was ministering, then you see where does that history fit on a reform line, and the way you do that, the easiest way is with the seven thunders. I think we did this in class, maybe we didn't. I can't do this off the top of my head, but if you've got the Old Testament, how many books in the Old Testament? In the Old Testament? How many? My teacher should know. You must have taught the children this.
Yeah, it's the total amount that's coming to mind.
39.
Yeah, 22nd.
Okay, so out of these 39 books, you can take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, let me get that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the first 5 books is the Pentateuch, Moses. You can take all that out because that's Moses. Tells you how things are put together. Then you've got Joshua, Judges, Ruth, 1 Samuel, 2 Samuel, Kings and Chronicles. So you've got all of that, and that's takes you up to, at least when you get to 1 Samuel, it takes you up to Saul. Yeah. So you go from the entrance into Canaan to Saul. So you've got all of that history, and then you've got the Kings, 1 Kings, 2 Kings, 1 Chronicles, 2 Chronicles, and that takes you to the division, maybe further into that. And then for the most of the rest of the Testament, Malachi, Zacharias, Haggai, Zephaniah, Habakkuk.
takes you all the way up to Cyrus, to the first year, to the first
All
decree.
about the captivity.
So all of this, which is the vast majority of the Old Testament, is only a small amount of history. It's mostly focusing on this time period here and just before that.
About the captivity.
Essentially, it's about the captivity. And the captivity now, prophetically, is well defined. Because we've got the last 7 kings of Judah, which is the 7 thunders. You've got 7 kings of Judah, 70 captivity, 7 kings of Persia. And that's over half the Old Testament. So once you can locate those 7 thunders where they are on the reform line, then we can do that now. Half the Old Testament is all sorted out for you. So if you were to go to Nahum and Micah and Jonah, all you need to do is find out where they're located in that particular history. Check if there's a 7 thunders, and most of the time there is. There's a number of 7 thunders. By the time you get to the division of the kingdom, where you're at Solomon, you get Rehoboam, Jeroboam, and then you get the 2 kingdoms. There's a number of 7 thunders in those histories too. The 7 thunders really opens up a lot of light, and it helps us to locate things properly.
By 7 thunders, you mean 7 steps?
Yeah, delineation of events in the reform line. So from the time of the end to the close of probation, you'd have 7 thunders. You can count them, and then you can put kings there, Persian kings, Roman kings, Judean kings, kings from the northern tribes. When you start doing that, it helps you to place all the stories in their correct position. And then once you do that, you've got the key to unlock what those passages are dealing with. To me, that's the easier way to do it. I don't want to say correct way, but I think that's how we should be approaching it. And you don't get caught up in all the intricacies, like looking at just singular words. Anybody got back to Isaiah 46? I think there's only about 3 or 4 stories really in the Old Testament. You could collapse them all down to 3 or 4 stories. You've got the story of Moses, which is the reform line. You've got the story of Noah, which is a reform line. But if you just took the first 5 books, most of it's just about the Exodus, mostly. And then you've got some stories about judges. Then you've got the kings. And a lot of that is, as I say, 7 thunders. And then the rest of it is the Babylonian and Medo-Persian captivity. Okay, so we're at Isaiah 46. So we said that half the chapter, up to about verse 8, is all about these Babylonian idols. So what's that got to do with anything? Why talk about Babylonian idols?
Because it's speaking about captivity.
Is it pointing to the Sunday law?
Pointing to Sunday law?
Isn't that the great idol?
But we're here.
Like speaking about captivity, speaking about their captivity. For me, Isaiah 46:1 identifies that identifies darkness. Because it says they are a burden to the weary beasts. Your carriages were heavy laden. They are a burden to the weary beasts. And it says their idols were upon the beasts. So if their idols were upon the beasts, that means that they are having rulership over them. So it's speaking to them, the nations or the beasts being in captivity to this power.
President?
I was just going to pick up the word captivity from verse 2, place that in darkness as well.
They stooped, they bowed down together, they could not deliver the burden, but themselves are gone into captivity. Who's gone into captivity?
verse 1, I think there are two different captivities that are being portrayed there between verse 1 and 2.
Okay. Verse 1, Bel boweth down, Nebo stoopeth, their idols were upon the beast and upon the cattle. Your carriages were heavy laden, they are a burden to the weary beast. What is verse 1 talking about, Sister Antonisha?
Me?
It's not talking about you. But you could tell us what it was talking about.
Okay, for me personally, the reference to Bel takes my mind to Jeremiah 50 verses 1 through to 3.
Just tell me what verse 1 is talking about before we go anywhere else.
You always do that. Bel
Because
boweth
that's what we
down.
should be doing. Perhaps. That's why we should. That's why I'm always doing it. Perhaps we should always do that.
I'm going to guess.
What I find so funny is that you're going to guess to tell me what the verse is actually meaning, but you're confidently going to take me to another Bible verse to explain what the verse is meaning.
I
You
was
don't even
taking
know-
you to that Bible verse because
You're tying up
it
Bel and
came
Bel or
to my
something.
mind. So I can speak confidently about it because it came readily to mind.
So what would the other verse? Would the other verse tell you what verse 1 is talking about?
I want to think it's somewhat connected, but based on the other verse, God was punishing the idols of Babylon when he caused the fall of that nation. But in this, I think it's suggesting something else.
Sister Tess, what's verse 1 saying?
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
Who's the your? Because if you connect it to the end of chapter 45, he's talking to Israel.
Bel boweth down, Nebo stoopeth, their idols were upon the beast and upon the cattle. Your carriages were heavy laden, they are a burden to the weary beast.
Whose carriages?
So he's speaking to Israel, not Babylon. Isn't he?
Okay, but even before we go into all the details, what's the gist of verse 1? If we could draw a picture, what does verse 1 look like? Let's do that, let's draw a picture. Sister Sarah, what does the picture of verse 1 look like?
They're beasts
There are beasts. Okay, so we've got some beasts.
and cattle and carriages.
So a beast is a cattle. So we've got a beast, and we've got a carriage.
And viewing evil, idols were upon the beasts.
Okay, so you've got an idol upon the beast. Everybody agree with that? So all the passages say you've got idols and they're on beasts and carriages. Why are they on beasts and carriages for? Before we do who they are, why are they on beasts for?
Are we looking at the passage literally, or are we applying a spiritual
First comes to
application?
I've got to read something to you folks. I've got to read something. Hope the person doesn't mind. Don't take offence, that's for the camera. Hi Brother Parminder. I was watching one of your videos on organisation and you made a comment about William Miller's rules, that you don't really understand them. But Sister White says it's simple. So are you saying it's hard to understand? And I don't want to conjecture at this point, so could you please explain yourself? So, are the rules hard or not? So how comes we're not getting the rules then? Because aren't we supposed, if the rules were simple, how do we get such a messed up reform line? And it wasn't like one of you, I mean, it's like the whole of FFA doesn't understand the rules. I'm not the only one.
We don't study them as we maybe should be.
But if they were simple, they wouldn't take much studying.
That's right.
I mean, you don't have to study thou shalt not kill much. 'cause everybody knows what that means. But we've got these rules and everybody says they're simple, and I'm saying they're simple. We can't even do, well, the people that I communicate with,
It's not hard
that's not the first person.
They are hard to understand.
I've got 3
them
people,
over and
testimony
over.
of 3, Sister Shamila and these 2 other people that said, they're simple, what's my problem?
I don't find the rules
Sorry?
easy.
Why
They
would
didn't
God
get the
ask
invite.
us to study the rules if they're hard?
Sorry?
Why would God require us to study the rules if they were hard?
Because
I mean, why would
I
he
can't
force us
understand
to-
that.
if they were difficult to understand, why would God ask us to study them?
He could have put the treasure on the surface of the soil, but no, we have to dig hard.
So I don't understand what you just said.
Um,
Are you saying that they're easy or difficult?
I'm saying they're easy.
So
but
why would you
for
need to
those
study them
who
if
are
they're
saying
easy?
that they're hard, then
I'm
why-
saying it's hard. I'm saying it's hard. Everyone is saying it's simple. You're saying it's simple. These other people are saying it's simple. You heard what the person said.
Yeah.
It's simple. What's your problem? And I'm saying, if it was so simple, how come 20 people couldn't get it right? Because we've all studied the rules. Can't even get Jeremiah 6:16 correct. And that's a relatively easy verse. And now I'm saying, let's do Isaiah 46. Don't
guess
get
we haven't
upset anybody, but
taken the time out
I
to
said-
study them.
I said, you don't need to because they're simple. Isaiah 46:1, my sister says, I'll take you to Bel somewhere else. I'll say, just tell me what the verse means. She goes, I've got no idea what the verse means, but I'll go somewhere else. And then I say, okay, let's do it simply. Let's just draw a picture. Here's a picture. So I'm saying, tell me what this verse means. And then someone says, do you want us to tell you literally? And I'm saying, people are mocking me saying, the rules are simple. Because I thought we're supposed to do a plain reading of the word, and unless we can prove it's not literal, then you have to take it symbolically. You have to approach the Bible as though it's literal. It's one of the cardinal rules. And I'm saying, I don't understand these rules, and everybody says they're really simple.
Unless it's figurative.
And how do you know? How do you know it's figurative?
Study line upon line to know.
No,
what
but
is
you don't
fig-
even
what's
study
literal and figurative.
the words in the verse. People are saying, I don't even know what the verse says, but I'm going to go somewhere else.
But
That can't be the way we're supposed to approach it.
So why is there so many callings at 9/11? There's a
No,
call
no,
to-
no. I'm not doing 9/11. I'm doing Isaiah 46:1, and
Yeah.
and straight away
Okay,
you're saying,
first one.
I'm going to argue with you because I'm not going to go back 3,000 years. I'm going to go back 16 years to 9/11. And Isaiah 46 verse 1 was not 9/11. It's 3,000 years ago.
I'm not saying verse 1. I'm talking about verse 9. I'm still.
No, we've done what we did.
Okay,
We got
yeah.
we did verse 9. You agreed verse 9 is not 9/11. You agreed with that.
Yeah,
No,
but
yeah,
at
I'm
the
not
same
taking
time,
a
I'm
but.
still wondering why. Because we were called to go back to the old past.
When?
I thought that was 9/11.
I've just proven it's not, haven't I? Did I just prove it to you? It's not 9/11. It could not be 9/11. If you believed it was 9/11, you were wrong. You made a mistake. Reevaluate. We can go through it again.
No, it's fine. You can continue with verse 1.
But you agree, Jeremiah 6:16. Are you on the path or you're not on the path?
I mean, I can see how it can be 9/11, but it
Jeremiah
can-
6:16. Are you on the path?
You're not, but you're
Okay, just
instructed to be
so
on
just
the
agree. So you're not on the path. When does the path begin?
the time of the end.
So you're not at the time of the end. You can see that you're green. You see you're here. You're not on the path. Jeremiah 6:16 cannot be 9/11. The words direct you to that. Okay, so we're here. Let's look at it literally. What's he saying?
That the idols can't carry themselves; they need the beasts to carry them.
Okay, isn't that the whole point? So what are the rules of grammar? You've got a chapter with 13 verses. What should you be looking out for? The first verse is going to tell you the theme. And what's the purpose of the first verse? Yes. So this verse is talking about what? And the usefulness of idolatry. And what is the usefulness of idolatry? It's worthless, because if they're such good gods, why can't they even function? Why can't they carry themselves? So before we tackle anything about the intricacies of that and identify what a beast is and what a carriage is, we should at least understand the tone and the whole point of the chapter.
God's been doing that for a number of chapters.
Doing what?
Showing the uselessness of false gods.
You mean pre-46?
Yeah.
Yes.
This whole section.
Yes. Remember all of this, where is Isaiah anyway? This is where it gets difficult when you do lines, because if you're going to say he's here, technically he probably would be, but he's pre-captivity. So he's warning everybody. So you know, there's not much difference between Isaiah 7 and Isaiah 28. It's just one long story. One long discourse. It's all like, I'm not saying literally on the same day, but it's all predictive of what's about to happen. Isaiah 7. Do we know Isaiah 28 is pre-723? It's pre the fall of Hoshea. So when you start seeing the context of that, then you begin to see what Isaiah is trying to do to God's people. Because Isaiah 46, it's over a century in the future. And they've already got all the problems.
That's what I was going to say, that even though they were not literally in captivity, their practices had already shown them to be captive to the idols of. So they were already worshipping idols, and God was here now declaring what their state is and where it would lead them to.
Do we know Cyrus isn't even born yet?
Yes.
Yeah? When 46 is written, Cyrus is not even born. So God is trying to show his people the uselessness of idolatry. Not only that, but they're already in captivity. He's treating them like they're already in the 70-year captivity, isn't he? So once we can understand at least that much of the thought of Isaiah 46, then you can start looking at some application. So one of the applications that you would go would be is, what is a beast?
Nation.
It's a nation. So what nation would that beast be? Is that Babylon? Is the beast Babylon?
It's not one beast.
I know, but I've just got one on my picture. Is that beast Babylon?
Carrying Bel and Nebo.
So Babylon's carrying Bel and Nebo.
Well, they're Babylonian gods, aren't they?
There's the Babylonian god. What are you saying?
I don't think
Who's the beast?
the one beast.
Just give me a name.
I don't know, because I just think
Is
it's
it
more than
Babylon?
one. Well,
Is it Israel?
but I think that it is Babylon that is in, I mean, I know that Bel and Nebo are idols, but I believe that Bel and Nebo have no power, so it is the Babylonians that are doing whatever it is that they're doing.
Is the beast Babylon? Is the idol Babylon?
No, the idol is their, well, no.
You wanted to make an application. You tell me what your application was.
Because of their burdens being on the beasts, that to me shows captivity. Their
Who's
burdens.
captive of whom?
The beasts are captive of the Babylonian doctrines.
Okay, so I'll ask the same question again then.
Because their
Who's the beast?
doctrines, Babylon then.
That's Babylon. Babylon is captive to the idol?
I know that doesn't make sense in my brain.
It doesn't to my brain either.
So no.
So who's the beast then? Sister Terry said it's Israel. Whatever nation it is, it's not the Babylonian nation.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I was saying.
I know, but you don't answer my question the way I want it answered.
Really?
So we'll make it Israel. Who's the idol? You want to make it doctrine?
I would.
Whose doctrine?
Babylon's got.
So this is Babylon then. So you're saying Babylon is controlling Israel and all the other nations.
Why
Yeah.
not Babylon?
Yeah.
So that would be an application. Sister Antonisha, you wanted to take us where? Now you're not going to say you're scared. You said it makes sense to you. Which verse was it?
I was going to Jeremiah 50 verses 1 through to 3, but that's okay.
Jeremiah 50 verses 1 to 3. Someone else will read it if you're not going to read it for us.
The word that the Lord spake against Babylon and against the land of the Chaldeans by Jeremiah the prophet. Declare ye among the nations, and publish, and set up a standard, publish, and conceal not. Say, Babylon is taken, Bel is confounded, Merodach is broken in pieces. Her idols are confounded, her images are broken in pieces. For out of the north there cometh up a nation against her, which shall make her land desolate, and men shall dwell therein. They shall remove, they shall depart, both man and beast.
What's the connection, sister?
I just knew that the idol Bel would have been destroyed through the destruction of Babylon. That's why my mind went there.
Verse 3.
And to read it?
No, we all read it. Brother Luke, what's verse 3?
A nation coming from the north against, I don't know, I'll have to see what's in my notes.
Is that? What notes have you got? You got notes on this?
Let me flick over.
Go and have a look then. Dig them out. What do your notes say?
If I have any of them on there.
What, have you got little subheadings in your Bible? Okay, so you got that, Mick. So it's a judgment on Babylon. So if it's a judgment on Babylon, the whole context is what's going to happen. It says, verse 1, the word of the Lord spake against Babylon, against the land of the Chaldeans, by Jeremiah the prophet. So he's predicting what? The burden of Babylon, the doom, gloom message to Babylon. So what's verse 3 saying?
That out of the north judgment will come.
Upon whom?
Upon Israel,
Go back to verse 1.
against Babylon, against the land. Okay.
Unless you've got really clear reason, the verses normally follow on one with another.
Yeah.
Unless there's a clear break. And often, most of the Bibles are pretty good on that. If you get a Bible that subheads things and breaks them down, they've done a pretty good job most of the time. You just have to be careful. But it would be really unusual for them to take the chapter and say, the prophecy concerning Babylon as an example, verse 1 is clearly telling you Babylon's about to be destroyed. Then from verse 3 to have something that's odd. And the reason you said Israel, Brother Jonathan, was what? Why did he say Israel in verse 3?
Because we know that Israel get punished by.
Give me the
king.
word that he used to say Israel.
North.
North.
Yeah.
Yeah? So I already I didn't even need him to explain it, because if you're not careful, that was the conclusion that you'll come to. That this must be Babylon that's going to punish Israel. So So now you've jumped histories. You've gone back 70 years, and already you should have warning bells and think that doesn't sound quite right. So, Sister Sarah, who's verse 3? For out of the north, who is that?
Medo-Persia.
That's Medo-Persia. Can we see that? Just without knowing the verse, you know the history, has to be Medo-Persia. So where are you now? Jeremiah 50. Where are we on the line? Brother Jonathan.
538.
So we're here at the time of the end.
No.
Yeah? Okay, so one thing we want to pick up, in verse 3 it says what? King of the north, or from the north. And in Isaiah 46, it's east. So it's got east and north. So why is it north in one place and east in another? Why do we talk about the north? Where are you going to get this whole north stuff from over and over again? The place that we always go to. Daniel 11. So if he's from the north, what's that telling you Medo-Persia is? Medo-Persia is king of the north. And we already, I think, did we talk about this when he becomes the king of the north? Did we talk about that in class? Any class? I thought we did.
When who becomes king of the north?
Anybody?
Yeah.
I thought we did. So, before he's going to take down Babylon,
But it becomes a conclusion.
no, I left it hanging for people to think about. But the conclusion we did come to, he's already the king of the north before you take down 3 territories.
Amen.
That's demonstrable. But I'm not saying when they become king of the north, but it's before they take down the 3 territories. So, do Medo-Persia take down 3 territories? How do you know? Oh, no. Sister Alyssa. Do Medo-Persia take down 3 territories? First, I'm going to ask you the question. Isaiah 46, the kingdom comes from the... Okay, so the east. They literally came from the east. But now in Jeremiah it says they're coming from the...
North.
Telling you what?
That it's a big nation.
No. No. The east means something.
So it's a separate territory.
It's symbolically. Why would he be called from the north? Who comes from the north?
People in the north.
And who's their king?
Cyrus.
No, the king.
Oh, of the north.
King of the north. So Medo-Persia is...
The king of the north.
Okay.
Kingdom of the north.
So he's the king of the north. Cyrus is the king of the north.
Yes.
Now the king of the north has a habit. Has some obligations. Before he can rule, what does he need to do?
Expand his territory.
By...
Taking 3 other kingdoms.
Has to take 3 territories. Because we've got enough history to know that. So I'm asking you,
Wait a
which,
minute. Did you just say before he becomes king of the north?
Mm-hmm.
no, he's king of the north already, then he takes down 3
Right, Before
territories.
he becomes king of everything.
Sorry, yeah, I expressed that, yeah. I have to be a big thank you, because they catch me at my word. No, not on the camera. So, before he can rule supremely, he's got to take down 3 territories. Where do you find Medo-Persia taking down 3 territories? That was my question.
On the very right side of where you're going to. Nope, down. Yep.
Okay, so this is Rome.
No, just kidding.
This is the big game. Up a bit, left a bit.
Getting warmer.
Let me pull out my Medo-Persia cheat sheet here.
She got it.
This is from...
Put
It's on
that
the video.
Jones.
Yes, this is from Antonicia's class because I wrote it down. Cyrus had to expand westward and northward, yet further. No, that was Darius. Sorry. Cyrus westward towards the Aegean Sea.
Okay, Sister Terry, you have to do it for us.
The 3 ribs in the there.
Daniel,
Daniel 7.
can you see that?
But it's in Daniel 8
It's
as well.
And Daniel.
3 ribs.
Yeah.
Daniel 8
Ribs.
says what?
what she was sharing, westward, northward, and southward.
Verse?
That's verse 4.
So we can see that? It has to take down 3. So it's got all the characteristics of the kingdom. That's why it's north in Jeremiah 50. Okay, so we've got God's people, and in this darkness, what's it telling us? They're already in captivity to Babylon. Yes? Okay.
And God's kind of goading them, saying, "What good has it done you?"
Yeah. Let's pick up another point that we're doing here.
Wait, let me just get this straight. So he, in 46, Isaiah is talking to, or the Lord is talking to Israel as though they're already in captivity, but they're not yet in captivity?
Not literal.
Okay,
They're in spiritual captivity.
okay.
And when you come to our reform line, we're here and we're in spiritual captivity. We're in captivity. Verse 13. Why we've got verse 13 here? I bring near my righteousness; it shall not be far off. My salvation shall not tarry, and I will place salvation in Zion for Israel, my glory. Why have we got the fall of Babylon, second angel's message here? What's that saying? Who did that one? Because someone said second angel's message a few times. Second angel's message, Babylon is fallen. So we want to place it here as opposed to here. Where does Babylon fall? Here or here?
Does it have a verse next to that?
Verse 13. Where does Babylon fall? It says chapter 47 and verse 13.
Oh, chapter 47.
You picked up verse 13 because it says, whoever did that.
The chapter heading says the downfall of Babylon.
That's 47, but why verse 13? That's 46:13. Righteousness. Someone picked it up from righteousness. Here it is, verse 13, righteousness. So, where does Babylon fall? Here at time of the end or here at 9/11?
On this timeline, though.
Time of the end.
Time of the end here, isn't it? Yep. Sister says?
I'm a little lost. Because you're starting chapter 46 saying it's Israel in captivity to Babylon, and you're putting that on a line based on Cyrus coming against Babylon.
And
It's kind of two separate histories.
where do you want to place Cyrus?
Coming against Babylon.
Yeah. Where do you want to place that?
Far in the future.
So, you
Because
think I'm
this is
saying,
pre-captivity.
am I saying something different? Yeah, this is pre-captivity. Exactly.
Then why is he talking about Cyrus?
He spoke about Cyrus long before Cyrus was even born.
So the ravenous bird isn't Babylon coming against Israel, it's Cyrus coming against
Yeah,
Babylon.
yeah.
Oh, so I wasn't sure if you were in the class on
Missed
Monday.
half.
Sorry?
Missed half of it.
Oh, okay, yeah. What verse is that? Verse 11. Verse 11, the ravenous bird from the east, the man that executed... No, you were here.
She was.
The second half of it, because you said, when you came in, you said, it's not a hungry bird. You said it's a hawk or a bird of prey. This is Medo Persia.
How do we know that?
Because it's from
The East,
How do we know it's not Babylon?
Cyrus, Harlin. Many different clues are there.
What I would say is I wouldn't look in the verse. There may be clues there, but don't even look in the verse for the clue. If you just step back a bit and you see what the context is. The context of 45, chapter 45, It says, "Thus saith the Lord to his anointed, to Cyrus, whose right hand I have holden." He talks about the prediction that Cyrus is going to come and do something. Then, chapter 46, he's going to do a number of things. One of them is to show the futility of idol worship, because God's people love idol worship, and he says, "I don't know why you love this so much, because the people that this idolatry here that you love so much is about to be destroyed by the wild man from the east." Because the wild man from the east is about to destroy this nation. And then in chapter 47, it explains how that's going to happen. I'm only saying that just from the title. We haven't actually read all the details of that. I mean, you can make Cyrus, this righteous man who he is, but he's also, would it be an attacking, swooping bird? I think we had wild in there somewhere. It's this crazy bird, and if he's from the east, it definitely has characteristics of Islam, right there.
So how can it be Medo-Persia and Islam?
A symbol can have more than one meaning.
So Medo-Persia represents the USA and Islam. I mean,
I just made just a general, so that you could because he's got all the characteristics that Islam does, that we know in another reform line. He's not Islam in that story.
Not in Isaiah 46.
In Isaiah 46, it's Medo-Persia.
But he's an east wind in a sense.
Yeah. This something from the east is going to swoop down and just destroy this place.
But it says, calling a ravenous bird from the east. Okay, yeah. Sorry, I thought there was a comma in...
Are you back on track or still lost? The other half?
I still don't know how we make that Medo-Persia in the context of it being Babylon.
Because in the context, 45 is a prediction that Cyrus is going to come on the scene. 47 is a prediction that Babylon's going to be destroyed. And just as in Jeremiah 50, where Antonisha took us, contextually you can see that it's talking about the destruction of Babylon, and the person who's going to come and destroy Babylon is going to come from the north to destroy them.
So he's jumping back and forth. He's talking about Cyrus, and then he's going right back into the history they're in, and then he's talking about Cyrus again.
Chapter 45, if you're referring to that, chapter 45, he's going to refer to Cyrus, and he's going to show the futility of idol worship, especially Babylonian idol worship, because that nation isn't going to survive. It's going to be destroyed by Cyrus. Okay, we've got a few minutes. Cyrus was whom? Medo-Persia. Medo-Persia is whom? Two-horned beast, yeah? So this two-horned beast is going to do what?
Bring down Babylon.
It's going to come and bring down Babylon, destroy Babylon, yes? So let's make an application of that then. We're here at the time of the end, and this kingdom's going to come and destroy Babylon. Who's that kingdom that's going to come and destroy Babylon? It's France. Everybody agree with that? Not the United States? Sorry?
Which history?
Millerite history.
Yeah,
Medo-Persia is going to come and destroy Babylon. Comes and destroys Babylon at the time of the end, Cyrus, 538, 536. So I'm saying that story, what's an application of it? We'll go with Millerite history, 1798. What power is now going to come and destroy Babylon? So some people are saying France, and I presume you're saying USA. Who says France? Why are you saying France, sis?
before Babylon is represented by the papacy and is conquered by gets the deadly wood.
Okay, so you're saying there's Babylon and France is going to deliver a deadly wound, so therefore it must be France. Sister Antonisha, then Brother
But
Jonathan.
it's not conquered. Okay, I got it.
It's not what?
Conquered. So that France then takes the spot and reigns.
Do you understand what she just said?
I got you.
What happens in 1799?
They elect a new pope.
Sorry?
They elect a new pope.
Who's ruling now? Go to France is ruling in 1799.
I thought because they had come after the papacy, then they would then be in power.
Okay. So this has been an argument in conservative Adventism for a long time. So let's make sure we all get this correct. You start counting kingdoms for me.
From what point?
From number 1,
I don't know where.
the beginning. Now don't tell her, she should know. Come on.
Babylon, Medo Persia, Greece, pagan Rome, papal Rome, modern Rome.
Excuse me?
What do you mean?
I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. Sister Antonisha.
Greece, pagan Rome, papal Rome,
And
United-
atheistic France.
No.
Okay.
Atheistic France. 6th head. 6th kingdom.
USA.
That's what everybody's teaching. This is what conservative Adventism teaches.
Said you're
Really, literally, the Adventists teach that?
I could show you documentation from, books that I don't know what they teach nowadays, but Hartman certainly used to teach that.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought this was from our first assignment, where we covered that. That it was France that killed Babylon.
No.
Sorry. I take it back.
Okay, let's do this then. Let's do this. Babylon, Medo Persia. Yeah?
Yeah.
This is the next empire in Bible prophecy.
Right.
Yeah?
Yes.
So, this is Mystery Babylon,
Right.
which is whom?
The papacy.
From what time period?
538 to 1798.
And who comes after Mystery Babylon? Which nation rises up after that?
The U.S. Okay. Okay.
The US.
Got it.
So Medo Persia is who?
The United States.
It's the United States. It's the United States that bring down Mystery Babylon in 1798. The next kingdom there.
And we see
That must be
France has
1989 we're talking about, not 1792.
Well, that's why I kept it time at the end, so you can have a duel. Sorry?
France has a different role. It never becomes king of the north. It's the king of the south. And we see in the line it's always the king of the north.
So everyone here is the king of the north. That's what Brother Jonathan's saying.
Or at least attached to.
Yeah.
Attached to?
I mean,
So you're not saying it is?
no, it is. But the only point is United States and Daniel 11:40.
Sorry?
Forget it.
No. What did you just say? Daniel 11.
I'm saying
40.
Babylon, Medo Persia.
Let me stop you first. You said these are all king of the north. Then you said maybe.
I say yes, but then
Okay,
if,
so they're all king of the north.
yeah,
So if they're all king of the north,
Yeah.
and you're going to fix on that position, now what are you saying?
I'm saying if it comes to the United States, or the threefold union, they are somehow, it's a threefold, it's a threefold enemy. It's not one entity anymore, it's a threefold entity.
Why are you saying all of that? What are you trying to avoid saying?
Because today,
Tell me what you're trying to avoid saying.
I don't know.
You're trying to avoid saying. You're trying to avoid saying that this is whom.
That's King of the North, yeah.
So what you're trying to avoid saying.
That the United States is King of the North.
Can everybody see that's what he's trying to avoid saying? And what are you actually believing? That the United States
It's attached to the King of the North.
the King of the North. You just demonstrated that it was.
Okay,
and
but
that's causing you philosophical problems.
yeah.
Why?
Yeah, it's a part of the King of the North. Because today we know the King of the North is the papacy, but we know the Holy Alliance, and that's why I said it's attached to the King of the North.
You were saying 1798 earlier. And then you said that the conservative Adventism believe that it's atheistic France. Isn't that correct? 1798. Atheistic France in 1798. Oh, that was correct.
I asked you who the sixth head was. You said modern Rome. And modern Rome is the eighth head, not the sixth. Babylon, Media, Persia, Greece, pagan Rome, papal Rome, the United States, the United Nations, modern Rome.
So
I shouldn't have assumed that you knew that, I'm sorry. I assumed that you knew that.
I do know that, but
Okay, so you do know that. So number 6,
Yes.
the sixth head is not atheistic France. And many conservative Adventists believe that it was.
When?
1798. The
The
sixth
sixth
head of
head.
Bible prophecy.
So who wounded the deadly? Who wounded the papacy?
In 1798, the nation rising to power was.
Sorry, I don't know what you said. The nation rises into. So, France. When you say nation, are you talking about the nation of France?
The United States was rising to power in 1798. According to the Great Controversy.
According to history.
But that's. I mean, there's the king of the south and the king of the north. But so how can USA be both? How can the USA be both the king of the north and who's the king of the south then in that history? 1798.
My sister.
Well, there was-
Saying,
Doesn't France have any
My
part to
sister.
play? I thought.
then you have to
They had
listen to
part
me,
to
since
play.
I'm the teacher.
Yeah.
Answer the question.
In 1798, France was a new manifestation of satanic power. It was the beast that came up out of the bottomless pit.
Stop
Yeah.
there. Is Cyrus a satanic power?
No.
Okay, carry on.
But then, the United States, because of the principles of its constitution, it is the power that really kept the principle of church and state separated is what kept the papacy at bay. And therefore, in Revelation 17, the one is the United States, not France.
That's not her problem, she knows that. Her problem is, in 536, when this ravenous bird from the east comes, who is that?
The United States.
From the east. How can the USA be from the east?
Because
That
here-
just spoils
here
everything.
God
I mean,
was
in terms of.
making reference to
Cyrus that was going to deliver God's people, and the United States was an asylum for those people who were under 1200 years of 1260 years of religious persecution. Now the United States is open as an asylum. It's a deliverance for God's people. Then that was being persecuted by the papacy. So we see the deliverance there. So typifying
Also the decrees.
Cyrus coming in.
Allowing the rebuilding of the temple.
Yeah,
Right.
the atonement.
You own that. One at a time. So you got a duo going now.
No, it's a trio.
So
So make your point.
So, as we all know, the prophecy said that the earth helped the woman, and we know that's typified this two-horned beast coming up, this lamb-like beast, this kingdom.
That's Revelation 12, if you don't know.
United States, typified there by this ravenous bird. And as we read, it says that he would bring deliverance to God's people in chapter 46. Because France did not deliver God's people.
What's Cyrus's role? What's his job function?
Decree.
Decree? Sorry?
Daniel 10.
No, that's a Bible verse. That's what his
It's
job
found
function is.
there.
Sorry?
It's found there.
Well, you just tell us what it is then. I don't think it's difficult.
Because you're difficult.
No, I mean, I can instruct others to help, not make it hard.
The
What's his
decree.
job function?
The decree.
The decree. Why does he want to make a decree?
Because God said that he should.
That's his
But
prophetic
What's the purpose
responsibility.
of that? Revelation 12, what's the purpose of that?
To help God's people.
To help God's people.
Yeah.
Is that his only job, to help God's people? Sorry, sister.
Deliver earth, that's all I'm saying.
Deliver. Is that his only job? What's his other job?
The other job is to punish Babylon, who
Enemies
punished
of
God's
God.
people.
Do you agree with that?
Yes.
He's got two jobs.
Yeah.
He's going to punish them,
So that's the same as Islam, in a sense.
I guess.
Yeah.
So, sorry? What's that? We should do videos on what the students do, like hand signals and all of it. So Cyrus has got two job functions.
Yeah.
Tell me what's the job function of the United States in 1798? Brother Mario.
Repeat the
The
question.
job function of the United States in 1798 at the time of the end. What's his job function?
To bring deliverance to God's people.
Is that
It's
all
an
or more?
It's an asylum. No,
Deliverance, is that all?
no.
What else?
To also take over from the kingdom from the
How can he take over from the kingdom of the papacy?
Punishes her
oh,
Brother Mario.
by preventing her.
You hear that? That didn't get caught on video. Okay, my sister, you take over.
No, he was asking you. When he said how.
no, I wasn't asking, I was repeating.
Oh,
But you can
answer.
answer.
No.
He's
Because
not allowed to that. So, United States job function is to
punish.
help God.
Yes.
How does the United States punish the papacy?
By preventing her from wielding the sword, by their constitution. The separation of church and state completely messes up her system.
That wasn't a punishment.
What was it?
That wasn't killing her.
What was it?
It's the removal of that and allows her back.
Has she not done that yet?
Has she not done
The punishment yet?
the United States?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you're not going.
Sister says? Sorry?
Didn't France get their ideas from the USA? Or was it the other way around?
Didn't France get its ideas from the United States?
But you are the one that says the United States doesn't punish.
No, I asked a question.
No, but you said they don't.
No, I said, do they?
Yes,
Then I said, what was the punishment?
by preventing her from being on the throne.
Who took her off the throne?
France did.
Who took
France did in the literal sense with the Pope, but the United
who
States.
took Belshazzar off the throne?
Cyrus, which is the United States.
It actually says Darius.
No,
Yeah,
It
I know,
was-
but it says Darius.
but the Bible, the Bible says
On the video. That's what she's doing to me on the video.
that it is Cyrus that will say to God's people, and Ellen White
Say
said
what?
that they should go. It is
Everybody's happy.
no, but it is Cyrus that was the general that took Belshazzar down.
Everybody's happy that Cyrus kills him, even though whoever the person was, Cyrus kills him and Cyrus delivers.
Yeah,
So my question is, in 1798, who kills Babylon?
Cyrus.
1798.
Cyrus.
Dead.
Who's the king of the south then? That was
France.
the question I had.
France is the king of the south.
But they don't wound the papacy, it's the USA.
Apparently.
Is that correct?
We've run out of time.
Come on.
Let's pray.
That's a cliffhanger.
I was saved by the bell. Heavenly Father, we thank you for your goodness and mercy. We want to ask and pray that you would be with us, bless us and guide us. Lord, as we study your word, we want to ask and pray that you would help us to study it reverently, but with joyful hearts. Please guide us and bless us in our continued investigation of these truths. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.